Come on, Doc.
My name is Dr. Randall. Sometimes you're put in a position where you think you can do something. And when you get to the position where you thought you could do something, you're not quite sure you can do it. And that's where I am right now. George and I, as do some other people in this room, go back 61 years. And that's a long trip. Now, George and I met when we were plebes at the Naval Academy. And that association took us through many things. One of the ones that I like to talk about was George organized a deal after the Army-Navy game. And it was at the Broadmoor Hotel in Philadelphia. And the deal was that you had to bring a jug of booze to get into the room. The other part of the deal was that George put the cork or the plug in the bathtub, and he put grape juice in the bottom of it, and then whatever you brought, you poured into the bathtub. And I said to him, George, what is that drink called? He said, that's Spoony-Oni. What Spoony-Oni is, I have no idea. That was one of the deals that I was involved with George. At our 1987 reunion, we were at, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were at the Crystal Cathedral in Virginia. And I was the first time that I had gone back to the Academy for a reunion. And I was sitting up in the top of the Marriott having some refreshments with my wife. And I saw a guy down there, and he looked like this. I said, that's Kachigian. And so I told my then wife, down and introduce yourself to George. She says, George who? George Kachigian. She says, who is he? I said, the one with the big nose down there. So she goes down and she said, George, how are you? George said, didn't I see you last night? My wife said, you've never seen me before in your life. Oh, I said, no. I saw you before someplace. And it was at that time that she pointed up, and there it was. And he realized what was going on. And that was also the first time that I met Ann. And we had a great time that weekend. But probably the story that you've all heard, if you haven't heard it, I'm going to tell it one more time. George and I were doing a little social drinking away from the Naval Academy when we weren't supposed to be away from the Naval Academy. And we were apprehended by the Annapolis Police Department. And that cop threw us in jail. because I am who I am. I have a convenient memory. I didn't realize that I was crying like a baby when we were in the jail. Because I knew it was all over. For those of you who are not familiar, if you were caught as we were caught, that was automatic dismissal from the Naval Academy. And as the police officer took us back to the gate, the guy who met us was called the Jimmy Lights, recognized George as a member of a fraternal organization which they both belonged to. And he had a conversation with George, which I didn't hear. But the next thing I heard from George was, "Come on, we're home free." Either one of us would have graduated. But in a moment of sincerity, there are two words that I understand in the English language that I think best describe my buddy George Deschamps achievement. Altruistic and anonymous. George has always been right on for those two words. George and I, of course, I preceded him to be an octogenarian. Welcome to the club, George.